All right,
Yeah.
and we're live. All right, welcome back to the A-League Waffle Podcast. I'm joined here by Halo Z and Joshy G. Halo Z, why don't you introduce yourself?
Um, Probably don't really need an intro. The most hated and most loved man in this community. But that's controversial.
Fair enough. And Joshy G.
Well, most people know who I am. My name's Josh. Um, Player for PSO in the A-League since season 1. Humble beginnings. Came out of my shell season 2 as one of the better midfielders. Fell off in season 3, and now I'm playing goalkeeper season 4.
Yep. And before we get into the topics, I just want to talk about real world activities, aka the FIFA Women's World Cup. Did you guys watch the match?
Yeah.
Australia versus England.
Yeah. 100%.
Briefly.
And thoughts on the loss? How did you guys take it, Helizy?
Don't really care, to be honest. I mean,
I should have expected that.
a lot of people do care. I mean, and the people that do care are either I can't really say too much, but the people who do care are probably at school, or they enjoy women's football, and that's as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm assuming it goes for you, Joshy, as well.
I had money on the line. I wasn't happy when I lost. I really wanted that public holiday, like most people.
Yeah.
In saying that, I won't say that I watch women's football. I'm not gonna claim and jump on that bandwagon, but it was a good game, to watch, the women and Matildas play. But honestly, watching that last semi-finals game, it was pretty atrocious. There was I don't know, the defense was disgusting. The offense, they didn't really change up their plan going into halftime. They kept playing this stupid switching football where they were trying to cross it through the box the whole time.
Yeah. So we've talked about this before, but I just want like a full in-depth season 1 breakdown, how the community came to be, how we all managed to get together in this wacky fun game. I guess Joshy, introduce us.
So my introduction to the game was mostly through Darnell Brickerson. I joined the server for the first time because I got kicked, so it doesn't say, but I joined maybe the 28th of December off the top of my head. The game was on sale for $5. I thought, alright, may as well play it. The game seemed active at the time. It was extremely active. It was Christmas holidays. Everyone was playing. I think the game had gotten an update a month ago from there, maybe a month before that. People were still playing it. And then I got invited to the Discord server. And I think one of the first people I spoke to on the server would have probably been Zapdos. Maybe. It was definitely a couple fraud United players in season 1. And then basically we kind of got told there was a season gonna happen. There was a couple teams already organized ahead of my team, which I joined. I think at the time United was already a thing. I think Fancy Footwork was a thing. I could be wrong in saying Prison FC was kind of already formed by around January 1st. But it was a very short season compared to what we're used to, being the first one, and it was run by Mulibar and Kyle. And it was the quality of the games were a lot worse. It was a lot more hoofball, just kicking it down the pitch and praying that someone would get it. The score lines were a lot higher because the skill gap between teams was humongous. You wouldn't see Fraud United from season 1 come together and play again. Because that team was insane. Probably wouldn't see TKK come back. That budget would be probably just over 300 million. WRFC maybe would be just under. I'd probably say it would be fairly under now because a couple of the players haven't played in the last season or so. But they pop up every once in a while in regs. Yeah, like season 1 was pretty fun. Like, don't get me wrong, there was a bit of controversy here and there, but I mean, I think Haloz can agree with me. Like, season 1 was probably one of the better experiences of a season. It wasn't as long and didn't drag.
Yeah.
It was just fun. Yeah, it was just fun.
Hey, hello Z, was that like the same for you? Was it like December or?
It's been a while actually. I don't know when I bought the game originally, but I think it was definitely somewhere like around December last year. I don't know how I got introduced to it. I think I was just looking for other games to play because I was sick of FIFA. Anyways, so I found it and I realized I had a Discord, so I joined a Discord. And I guess my first introduction to the people in this community was, from what I remember, I joined a random VC, and turns out people were in it with Corzo. I think Gianni was in it, and Pogba, and Zapdos. And they're like, who the fuck is this guy? And I was like, hey Liz. And from there, I just joined a lobby, and they were like kicking the ball, like there was a crossbar challenge, and I guess that's how I kind of met some of the people in this community. And from there on, I was trying to join a team, but I couldn't really find any team, so I just decided to make my own, and that's how Prison FC was formed. So yeah, that's how I met Zuza and all the blokes there, Sulks as well. But I think it's only us 3 left from that original team. But yeah, like Joshy said, it was definitely very fun because everyone was learning the game except everyone at Madrid. But yeah, no, it was fun.
Yeah, how did Prison FC go in season 1? Did they?
I mean, everyone was sort of like on the same skill level. So like for Zuza and I, we were definitely learning how to play, and he's obviously a tremendous player now. But yeah, it was just sort of getting into the habit of playing as a team, getting used to the league, understanding the fixtures, and just meeting more people in the community. And yeah, obviously Molibar was in charge around then. Well, was always in charge, but Molibar was like running things. And yeah, there was a bit of controversy there, but I can't even remember a lot of it now. I couldn't even tell you.
I think from the top of my head, I think it was something to do with a player lagging out in quotation marks, and then someone like playing in their position, which at the time season 1 rules was if a player leaves, you can't fill their spot.
Oh, I see.
And I think it was something along the lines of something like that.
Who was in charge of like the league exactly?
It was so Kyle was basically what Willac is now.
Yeah.
You had Mulibar in charge of kind of doing like what Benny does now, like in charge of kind of just running most of the stuff. But I mean, compared to season 1 and the very beginning of season 2, Benny's workload is probably a lot bigger compared to what they used to do. In season 1, you had like some slapshot guys like Cavalli. Cavalli would be in charge of stat keeping. He'd basically have like spreadsheets that kept track of every little stat here and there. You had different moderation team. It was mostly slapshot guys like Skits. Massive Legend at the time was on the admin team. I think Joycey might have been, maybe not. But yeah, there was different people. The league was at the very, very beginning a lot bigger than what it is now. There was 11 teams, which supposedly had, at least 6 players on each team. So there was at least, almost 56 players, I think. But a lot of teams, about 3 of them dropped out in the first week. Which for for my team for WRC, that really fucked us over. Because we ended up getting most of those teams in the first couple fixtures, which meant we only played one game in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Because at the time it was like you played 2 games every week. It was and then you get new fixtures. So we played one game out of 4 that we were given. So it was very different compared to now, which I think Benny is doing. Like all the shit people give Benny, like he runs the league perfectly. Like, and that's all him pretty much by himself. Like there's no people really in there helping him do that, except for maybe like myself or like, you know, another league court or something. Kind of just, you know, he'll ask an opinion and we'll say yes or no if we like it or not. That's kind of it. He does all of that now, and like
Yeah.
the league now, like season 3 has been pretty good.
Yeah, and he always looks to improve because like he was on the previous what you call it podcast, and he made a great emphasis on what season 4 is going to be like. It's going to be much more balanced than the previous seasons with the salary system and all that. We went into depth about that last podcast, but he made a really good emphasis on balance. I guess, did it happen like straight up from the bat, like the imbalance? Was it noticeable? Like, and how
Oh, yeah.
big was it?
Oh yeah. Halo's will probably. I mean, I'd say the teams were actually pretty balanced actually in season 1. People didn't really know each other that well. Like Prison FC, you had Zuza, Halo's, Blue Lock Beast,
Oh yeah.
and Prime Blue Lock Beast. You had Prime Don, Bailey CZ in goal, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, like that team was like if that team had kept playing now and they stuck together, they'd probably already maybe won a title.
Yeah.
If you know, because a lot of those players like Zuza went off to join super teams, but if they played well and stuck through, they'd win easily. WRC was myself, but at the time I was very new and didn't get a lot of game time, so not including me, the lineup was Luca, Darnell, Larry, Prime Wilk Messi. That guy was insane season 1. I think he had at least double-digit goals for the season, so pretty good. We had 2 really good keepers. We had Alpha Warrior, who only played maybe 3 games, and then being a typical Rust player, he went into his cave and didn't come out for the rest of the season. And then we had Jing, which people might shit on Winnie Foden. You know, he's a bit of a meme, but the guy had an eye for talent. No joke. A lot of the good players in the league were probably found by him. I would say like at least like 3 or 4 really good players like were on a team that he ran. And I was on the bench. I would play occasionally, but at the time I was a defender in season 1. But season 1 defense compared to now was nothing. Literally your job was just to hoof the ball up. No joke. Compared to now, where defenders now, if you don't have good defense, you just lose.
Yeah.
You can have shit attack and good defense, and you'll still do good. But if you have shit defense and insane offense, you probably fall short near the end, but you still get a lot of goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched like a video on the official channel, and there's a lot more like directness. Like,
Yeah.
would that be the biggest difference? Like, apart from
Yeah.
like the skill level, it's just like people being less direct and more like keeping it like on the ground.
Yeah, kinda. It's like the skill level. Like, even Corzo was not as good as he is now in season 1. He was still insane, definitely one of the best players. But there was none of his head dribbling stuff. There was no Halo spins. There was no cheeky spin. Might have still been a thing. I know the most predominant move season 1 was the Anthony flick. Everyone was trying to do Anthony flicks, and when you figured out how to do it, you were like, "Oh my god, I can Anthony flick!" So shout out to Zapdos for making that part of the culture. But yeah, it was like you're saying. it was a lot of teams were playing a lot more hoofball in a sense, and it was a lot of balls in the air, a lot of out of bounds. If you look at stats, throw-ins were insane in Season 1 compared to what they are now, where it's a lot more possession-based and tactical, and everyone now, even like your quote-unquote shit players, have somewhat of a basic understanding of runs and stuff like that. Even the dribbling is a lot better compared to what me and Haloz and I would have been like in Season 1.
Yeah. So, Season 1, how do you reckon it went on for? How long did Season 1 go for?
Ooh. About a month, wasn't it? Or
It was pretty short. It was like... So I'm
less than a
thinking
month.
Season 2 started in like mid-Feb. The season got cut short and there was no finals. It was just awarded to United. And that was due to... I don't even know what the actual issue was. I think it was just due to a lot of... Season 1 had a lot of hiccups. So I think Kyle just called it. And I mean, Fraud United, if you can see the archived season, like I don't think they lost a single game. They might have lost one. I mean, I can check now, but I'm pretty sure it was a really strong season for them. Like, they were pretty much going to win the finals anyway. Yeah, they had no losses. They won 9 straight. To put in perspective, the next team, TKK, which had, Willak, Brian, Kanga, Mulibar, like really good players on that team. A few others that's probably just escaped my brain. They were only 8-1. Then you had Shubi, which is a slapshot team. I think it had, from top of my head, maybe Skits, Joycey, and a few other people. They were, I think, Massive Legend. They were 6-2.
Yeah.
4th place was SSN, which can't say what their actual name was. Can't even say TKK's name. A lot of these names are a lot more offensive compared to now.
Yeah, it was a more casual season,
Yeah,
I reckon.
yeah. SSN had like Spa. I think it had Steezy and a few other people on it. I could be wrong there. I'm just talking out of my ass. They were 6-4. Then you had Prison, who was 5-2. But going off there, they didn't play 2 of their last games. I think they called the season early there.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then WRC, which is my team, very strong start of the season. We were 4-1, and then we lost 3 at the end straight, so we were 5-4.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, the season was a lot different. The game was a lot different.
Hey, Halo Z, I just wanna. So you played for Prison FC Season 1. Did you?
Correct.
Yeah. Did you play for any other team Season 2 or?
Yeah, I played for Rochester United Season 2.
Oh, how was that? How was that?
It was an interesting experience to say the least. So we had well, it was me on the left wing, Zapdos center mid, Johnny right wing, and I think we had Rosale Conte, legend, fantastic defender, rest in peace, at fullback, and Darnell. And I think in goals it was Carl.
Yeah.
The plan there very much was get the ball to Gianni, and that's pretty much how we played.
And it worked.
Yeah, it definitely did work most of the time. There's a few little bits that didn't work, but no, I'd say most of the time it worked. And even if Rochester was still going now, I think if you had the likes of Corzo on that team still, and Gianni, then see you later. But yeah.
Yeah, and how long did Season 2 last for? Was it the same time or?
Oh,
Same time
wasn't
as
it?
this season.
Yeah, about the same.
Yeah.
This is around this time, around Season 2, mid-end Season 2, Haloz and I got into staff. So we tidied up Season 2 pretty neatly. It was a bit messy midway, due to some issues between the PSO community and the Slapshot community, which resulted in a couple of the teams leaving the comp. Which I think we've squashed pretty well now. I mean, there's a few players who won't come back from Slapshot, but we got a lot of players coming back who want to play. They've kind of integrated with us well. We've integrated with them with a lot of players like Benny, Cheeky, Corzo, already like going over to Slapshot and like, you know, doing very well respectively, even winning MVPs and stuff in their comps.
Yeah.
And we're getting players like Massive Legend and Steezy and Backy coming back to here, and they're playing really well as well. So we tidied up Season 2 pretty well. I think it was, top of my brain, Haloz can probably correct me, I think it was mid-end February till about end of April. About 2 months? 2.5 months?
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds about right. It was pretty clean. Controversy a little bit with Fraudchester United in the semi-finals.
Definitely.
Benchwarmers won that. Shout out Benchwarmers though, like they had a really good squad. Yeah, and then the finals was kind of a joke that season, to be fair. I think this season's going to be a very competitive final. We're going to have Brighton, we're going to have QPR. It's going to be really competitive compared to other finals.
Yeah. Speaking about that, so we have QPR, we have Halo Z, do you want to list who's in QPR? Or do you know them?
UPR right now?
Yeah.
Was it Benny, Corzo, Lee, Darnell, Gilly, Zuza, Kanga now? Yeah, you join them.
And Maine. I think that's
And
it.
Maine. Yeah,
Did you
that's
have to
right.
say Oak?
Oh yeah, Oak as well, so yeah.
That's it, yeah. They have a 9-man roster.
Ooh.
It's like a very, very tough squad. That squad is basically the best parts of every team from last season. You got a couple
It's
Arsenal.
very sweaty.
You got about 4 Arsenal players there, or 3 Arsenal players. You got 2 toe lickers / Fraud City players. Oh, 3 actually. Then you got 1 Fraud United player, and where did Kanga? Oh yeah, no, yeah, that's pretty much it. It was like basically like the best teams of that season. Like most of their best players kind of grouped up, and that was when midway through this season, Benny kind of realized that if this was to stay that way, it would kind of kill the league because you'd always have the best players kind of grouping up, and it wouldn't be as competitive. And now, with the salary being implemented, we're seeing a lot more creative teams. We're seeing new people taking on the role of manager, and yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, one team I'm very interested in is Inter Milan. They're like nonce and coping like put together sort of,
Yeah.
but it's not even on the same level as like coping and nonce. They kind of went like a step up because they sort of like the cohesion's still there. It's kind of it's like a standout team. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I can see it. Like the one issue I'm gonna have with my Nan compared to other teams, and why I don't think they're gonna do as well, is I think the maturity level on that squad is not going to be very good. I mean, you've got a lot of people who are about 15, 14, a couple 16, 17-year-olds.
Yeah.
If things don't go their way during the league, they might not be as driven to see it out. I feel like they will, but there might be like losses in morale. Whereas you're looking at teams like QPR next season, even AC Mirolan, arguably. Like you've got, like you could say, like because that team's a bit small at the moment, but they're going to expand that roster with some new free agents, I imagine. They've got a lot of more older players, like 17, 18, couple 20-year-olds, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the little intricacies that we're going to see.
Really,
in the coming season.
Would it play a difference though?
Yeah, 100%. Like when I was at the start of season 3, when I was on AC, I was probably the oldest player on the team. Arguably, kind of had a role of like being kind of like keeping everyone's morale good. Like we'd have a shit stinky game against fucking. I think first week we lost to QPR 2-1. No, 6-1. It was something pretty bad. But then we versed Brighton, and I think we drew.
We drew, yeah.
Like, that was a good game for us. And we played them straight back to back. Like, we played one and then we went straight into the next one. We were pretty bummed out. Kept our morale. And we took a draw out with Brighton, and Brighton's in the finals now. So, like, that was pretty good. And then I think down the line, like, even with, you know, changing of teams, Pooventis, we had a really bad line of games, and I think, like, on a team like that, it was a bit harder to be in good spirit, considering that there was a lot of pressure on myself, having left AC to go play there, and play 20 minutes a game, try and keep that team competitive, because when I joined it, it had a pretty perfect record, and I kind of stuffed it. Wasn't much I could do personally on my level, maybe better performances, but we ended up bottling the season. But I mean, I made a good bunch of mates along the way. Like, it worked out fine, and it's It's just, I think the main big thing coming into next season, which people will definitely not rate, but they should be, is player cohesion and morale. That's why you're not going to see teams signing certain players if they don't think they're going to fit the chemistry. And I think that's like one thing that I can say as a manager, I think Benny does very well. Benny won't, like, I remember, I'm waffling here on the Waffle Podcast, but
I mean, I mean, it's the name, so just go on.
Nah, but I remember I got told in Season 2 that Arsenal had lost both their midfielders due to issues IRL, and this was after this happened anyway, but supposedly there was different candidates that they were going to bring in during the transfer window to fill that void. I was supposedly considered for it, which I thought was cool anyway, even if it wasn't true. Just to hear that was very nice to hear, considering I was in Rochester City and we hadn't won any games that season. I think the only thing we tied our first game, and then it was just tough ever since. But they ended up going with Saliba with Oak, and that was probably the best thing they ever did. I mean, Oak Season 2 compared to now is a huge difference, and he's a great bloke. But and the reason why Benny did that was because he thought that Oak would fit better than I would, and I think he was 100% correct. Like, Oak is super chill. I'm a bit more, I can get very agitated very easily, or not even that, but like, I get very passionate, and sometimes I take that out on people.
Yeah, we all do, so, I mean.
So, I think it worked out well for them. They won the title. So, like, yeah, and even this season, with Season 4, like, Benny's constructed his team very carefully for the new season for QPR. You could say even Sao Paulo is the same, which I think has been mostly, I could be talking out of my butt again, but Kanga, I think, has been running that squad. I could be wrong.
Might be Winnie, or...
I don't think it's Winnie. Might be... I don't know. But like, they got like Darnell, Willak, Winnie NPC. Darnell's kind of the odd spanner in the mix, but like, Darnell's super chill. So I think like that team's gonna gel very well. So yeah, it'll be a very good. I'm very excited for Season 4. I kind of just want these finals to get played like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Moving on. We have the second final team. The Brighton and Fraud Albion. Jar's the manager, alongside with Ozzy, Larry. You got Kix, you got Milos, you got Harry, Zaptis, Falfrave, and Christo.
Yeah.
Halo Z, I just want to get your thoughts on this team and yeah, just your general thoughts.
Cool. Well, I mean, I've got very controversial take on this. A lot of people won't like it, but as far as I'm concerned, where they've gotten, it's a big achievement for their squad, especially seeing with what they started with. But that being said, you got to take into account the amount of times that team has cheated to get where they are, the amount of times they have used certain tactics to try and get around the rules, and even if they weren't rules then, like now wouldn't be allowed. And I mean, morally, it's a pretty stinky thing to do. But I mean, let's be fair, they had Corzo on their team, and got who the other person was. Yeah, Ryan, and they're arguably two of the best players in PSO.
Yeah.
Yes, and I mean, is it really a surprise to me that they're in the finals? No. I mean, they've got a good squad now, but if we think about what they had back then, would have they gotten the same points getting them into the finals? I don't know.
Yeah.
They've got good players.
Yeah, to clear this up, you're talking about the two alts that they used during the season.
Gibby and Squidly, I think it was. Yeah, I mean, they even had Kango. No, that was nonsense. Sorry.
You're thinking of I Am Groot.
I'm thinking, yeah, I'm Groot and Kraken. Yes, I'm thinking nonsense. Yeah. That's another whole debacle there as well. But yeah, no. I'm not really a big fan of the team. I like some of the players in their team. They've got some good blokes in their teams. But just the way they've done it, the way they've done this season, I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah,
and,
that was a really sketchy thing that they did. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Did they ever get like punished or no?
No, because it wasn't a rule at that time.
Yeah.
That was basically at the time. There was personal punishments given to Corzo and Ryan, which involved their stats getting wiped from whatever they earned on their main accounts. To that point was taken away. So Corzo right now would probably have a lot more goals and assists than he does right now on the leaderboard.
Yeah.
Ryan already kind of gave up playing anyway after that happened. But his stats got wiped, plus he was going to China.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like Haloz has a good point. Like, if I don't think that team does as well without Corzo and Ryan at the very beginning. But after the transfer window, that was a brand new squad. They brought in Zapdos and Falfrave, which I think was the pieces they needed to replace those two alts that they were using. You also got Christo, which I think he played one regular season game, maybe two, very briefly.
I haven't seen him play a game
since.
Yeah.
He's been gone. I don't know where he's been, to be honest. That's probably a question that you could ask Joshy, maybe when he's on the pod one day.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to do very well in these finals. I wouldn't be surprised if there's an upset, but obviously QPR should still be the favourites, being with that squad, that depth. Their chemistry they've had since adding Zuza back to the squad since he's been away. Still, they haven't missed a beat. But shout out Jar and Aussie. Played with them in season 1. I mean, a lot of players from my season 2 team from Fraud City are all in the finals. So Jar and Aussie, Lieb, Harry. Who else? I think that's legit our starting lineup. No joke, minus Xing in goals. Pretty much all made the finals, so I'm pretty proud of them.
Yeah.
For doing it anyway. It will be good. I don't know when the game's going to be from when this is uploaded, but like, it's going to be a really big event. I think everyone's going to be watching, even if they say they don't care.
Yeah. Do you think it's like a more sort of balanced final than the other seasons, where it's like, okay, this team has the advantage, but this team is a good underdog that you could root for reasonably? Do you think it's exciting that way?
100%. I think Haloz can probably agree with me compared to last season's finals, because this is only the second finals that's ever happened, because season 1 didn't happen. This is a lot more competitive and bench warmers.
It's every season as they go along, like especially with the staff team, everything it's being improved, and it's really just learning from your experience, as most people will tell you. But yeah, no, every season everything's being improved and it's been done pretty well. There's a few inconsistencies, but as I said before, especially like with the budget thing, it's going to be huge and it's going to change everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking about the finals, I just want to get this in. I want to get your like official who are you going for? Joshy, you first?
For the finals?
Yeah.
See, I can't really have an opinion. Being on QPR next season, I want to support Benny and a few of the other guys on the team who are playing with me next season. But at the same time, I do want to see the underdog win. I'm gonna say QPR will win by 2 goals, and I think the margin it'll be I reckon it's gonna be 5 goals to 3, which is very fair. I want Brighton to win. I think they could, but due to obligations, I'm going to support my future teammates
Yeah.
for next season.
Haley Z, do you have like a sort of pick?
I'll go for QPR. I think they'll win it comfortably.
You reckon?
Yeah.
How comfortable? Do you have like a specific scoreline or nah?
By a margin of 2 goals at least.
At least.
Like at least 2 goals over what they score.
Mm.
But it could be like maybe like 5-3 or something like that. I don't know. I reckon Brighton will score. They definitely have the capability to do it, but QPR is just such a well-formatted team, and everyone knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think for Brighton, the main thing is going to come down to what lineup they actually play in these finals. I think leg 1 we saw a very underwhelming Brighton team losing to Liverpool. They added Ozzy, who people put down as a very average player, underperforms. He came in, pretty sure he had like 2 assists, scored 2 goals. He did very well on the wing, position-wise as well. And I think just that link-up chemistry he has with his academy teammate in Joshy, and having that third man that's Zapdos just there to clean up, like I think they're going to do very well. But of course, compared to Liverpool, the defense of QPR is going to be a lot harder to beat, and they've also got to deal with that attacking threat of Zuza, who at will can score a hat-trick, not even have to really try. He's just that dominant, and I think we're going to be in for a very entertaining finals.
Fair enough. Yeah, just sort of moving on to that. And Halo Z, I wanted you here I want you to clear up a controversial match. I'm sure you remember the forfeit against Brighton. I just want to get your sense on like what happened like inside AC Marolan and
yeah. Suppose at that match, first off we started. We had Taco, obviously. And I think we had him on because one of our players, I can't remember now, couldn't make it. So yeah, we had Taco, and we were trying to wait for Luca, I'm pretty sure. And basically, they wanted us to start like now. They wanted us to like just play, and I even asked Benny about it. He's like, "No, it's cool. You guys can delay it. It doesn't have to be played by such and such date." So that's what we were trying to do, and then we realized, oh, we might as well get out of the way because I felt pretty pressured and I don't want to keep anyone waiting. We were gonna play, and then Taco for some reason said that he couldn't get in the VC, which I will point out is a load of shit, in my opinion. And I believe Brighton just did that to try and get us to forfeit. From my perspective, at least. And, this was supported by the staff members as well, in my opinion, because they were even in chat saying, "Oh, just play now." So, I felt pretty pressured to play with this whole situation with Taco. So reluctantly, we played, and by that time, everyone was kind of pissed off, and we weren't really in the right headspace to play. Luca eventually came back, but then he said he had to leave, so it was just kind of like a big mess, and we conceded a bunch of goals, and I said, you know what, I'm just not gonna bother getting mad about this. There's just no point. It's a video game, so you know what, if I can't be bothered playing, like, I'm gonna leave. And I gave the option to my team. I said, you know what, you guys can leave as well, like if you want, but I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And yeah, I left, and I just didn't want to get pissed off and do anything, that I'd regret. So yeah, I just left him. By then, I just forgot about the game for a while because I'd been playing quite a lot and that other shit. to deal
Yeah.
with my life, and life gets in the way and shit, and I had uni starting again, and it's like I'm not gonna let a game fucking control what I do. Like,
Yeah, that's
yeah, I mean,
fair.
yeah,
I mean, like,
uh,
I was part of the AC Marolan squad, and
yeah, you were there, so yeah.
all of it sounded so like iffy. Taco not joining, and he's like, "Oh wait, I'm setting up my Discord." It it sounded like, I don't want to like, sniff my nose in that,
Hmm.
but it makes me wonder, like was Bryden really like planning to just like like pressure? I part of me says no, they just wanted to get it over with, just. But then again, like, I don't know, there's something there.
In
Can't
my
really put
opinion, it
my.
was
Mm,
definitely what was going on because I mean, if you look at it, Christo, Taco, Juste, all mates. I'm pretty sure Christo's Juste's IRL. And, we had this whole debacle with Christo leaking my DMs to Juste, so obviously, we kicked him out. I did a vote with the team, and everyone that voted wanted him out, so,
yeah.
well, most people at least. So, we got rid of him, and I reckon he was really just sour grapes over that. He was really butthurt about it, so when it came to playing us, he couldn't play the match, but, he got his good old mates here, Taco, and said, you know what, how about we make these guys forfeit? They don't have a player, so let's make them forfeit. How about you just pretend you can't get into Discord VC? And I mean, I've had Discord since 2016. I've never encountered an issue with not being able to join like a VC, like that's with the servers up and running and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, I don't know what happened, but I can't say for sure. It just sounds like a load of shit to me, and yeah.
Do you think Bryden deserved to be in the final? It's a pretty loaded question, but like.
Short answer, no.
Mm,
Why? Because I think they're stingy and what they've done, I mean, technically you could tell me, oh well, you know what, it wasn't against the rules what they did by getting ults. Morally, it's a shit thing to do, and it's really just a pussy thing to do. But you know what, it is what it is. And technically, you could say, yeah, you do what? They didn't violate any rules. They can. From a technical standpoint, yes, but in my opinion, like, it's just a shitty thing what they've done, and so no. In my opinion, no.
fair enough. Did you guys watch the Brighton Liverpool, like the two legs? Did you guys watch that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joshy, just so there was a first leg which Liverpool won by like a slim margin, like 2-1.
Yeah. It was a very small margin. I think 2-1 sounds correct.
Yep. And then, so why was there such a big difference between the first and second leg? Why was that?
I mean, from a analytical perspective, it looked to me that Brighton obviously were coming in down a goal on aggregate, which is not too scary. One goal is super achievable. So they had nothing really to lose. But Liverpool had everything to lose because they were up the goal and they had to keep that difference in order to make it through to the finals. So I think their mojo was kind of thrown off and they were just down in their morale. When off kickoff, there was this play, I think it was Jase kicked it to Zaptis, and then Zaptis sent it to Aussie on the right. Aussie sent in a really good cross, which Jase volleyed, and they scored in the first 10 seconds of the game. And I think by that point, it was tied aggregate 2-2. And I don't know, I think it just threw them off. It just gave Brighton that mental edge that they knew they could do it. I think the personnel change of adding Aussie over Larry was a very good move on Jase's behalf. I don't know if that's particularly his choice or if it was more of a game time decision where Larry was unavailable and Aussie was available, which I think would have been what happened. And I think Aussie just kind of rose to the moment, proving himself to be, one of the better wingers in the comp in terms of like gelling with teammates. He did that pretty well in Season 2 with Fraud City. I mean, the results won't say it, but Aussie is, in terms of team chemistry, like everyone on Fraud City got along really well, especially in the second half of the season, less in the first. We got along well, and I think that kind of translated here into this game where he just filled in the role of what Larry would have been doing. Zapdos was playing his traditional role because he got to play, well, not traditional, but he's more of a center mid than a winger. He's come back into center mid this game compared to being out on the right, and that's opened up Zapdos' game. And then having Aussie on that right wing has opened up Jar's game, and I think they just played really well. I think Harry Sutar did a tremendous job in the back line. I'm pretty sure he had about 30 or 40 defensive contributions. Kicks had a very solid game. They just looked better. I think it's also, I know Baz had something happen IRL. I think it was something to do with his dad. I hope he's all good. Because I know IRL stuff is, when shit happens, and it's always bad to see that happen. I think he had to leave in the middle of the game. Pandalite subbed on. Pandalite hadn't played as much games and is probably not as good as Baz in terms of their best lineup. So I think that definitely affected them as well. But it was more, I think it all came down to that mental edge, where we just saw Brighton get an early goal, and from there they were just steamrolled. And yeah, now the rest is history, and I think these finals is probably going to be one of, if not the best of all time. Like, you got two stacked teams.
Yeah.
It's just going to be good.
I think what's really similar to these teams, once they get like a rhythm going, they don't stop like in any way, shape or form. They gain momentum, and it's like a snowball effect. That's what because they find a run, and then they find more options, and I guess it helps as well as the other team loses discipline and loses like focus towards the game. As they're losing, the pressure sort of gets to them. It's kind of like real life games in a sort of sense, where sort of it's sort of like 90% mental and then 10% technical. Because if you're not mentally disciplined, if your positioning's like off by a little bit, sort of, like I said, it's like a snowball effect.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, I think it's definitely a big thing as well, comparing like the earlier seasons to now. Like, tactics has become a lot more like prevalent in the game. There's a lot more ball knowledge now, in terms of knowing little intricacies of like how the players in the game move, what's physically possible in the game, even set pieces, actual plays drawn up on a whiteboard. Players memorize that, or somewhat memorize it. Compared to like Season 1, Season 2, there was less of that. It was all kind of just find the best dribbler you got in your team, put them up in striker, they get around the defense sometimes, and they might score a goal. But now it's all, like, you'll find defenders are now getting plays drawn up for them to score goals. Midfielders are now playing more like either central defensive midfielders or centre forwards. It's going to be like the whole style of PSO-ALEAGUE has changed. I think also a lot of people are now researching other leagues overseas. You got your EU leagues, you got your South American leagues, even NA is different game. They play 8v8. A lot of the leagues overseas play 8v8, but there's still the tactics in there, and even like the technical moves and stuff that they're pulling off in those leagues. I think we're going to see a lot of that transition into Season 4 and onwards.
Hey Lizzie, do you think it's become more tactical, like more of a tactical game?
Definitely. Obviously, like even myself, I've definitely been able to kind of change into how I think I play best. I've changed from wing to centre mid, and a lot of other people have even gone from goalkeeper to on field now. It's a bit of a trend, but no, it's just about people trying to find their groove and find how they best work. And
I mean, you can try to apply tactics to the game, but at the end of the day, you know, I've tried it with AC, Reroll, and all of that. It's not even about the tactics. It's about how you play as a group, as Joshy said, how you like kind of like gel. And for QPR, I mean, we tried, you know this, Joshy. We tried to replicate the whole 4-1 formation,
Yeah.
and it didn't work. Like, that's because you just need the players with the abilities, you know, to kind of like do that, and the players who are naturally just good at it. And for QPR, that's why they've been so successful. Just because they can all gel together. But yeah, it's really up to how every team plays together and what suits them best.
Yeah. Well said. We've reached like the 50-minute mark. I want to get one last question in, and it's a kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a wacky one, but what skill is the most important? Is it dribbling? Is it shooting? Or maybe even what is the best position to learn? Like, what's the most important position, I guess?
I'd say my opinion would probably be you're best to start as a defender. No joke. The league needs more defenders, and only the people who are stupid rate attackers more valuable than defenders.
Mm.
Bit controversial me saying that, I think, but like like I said at the beginning, you can have good attackers and shit defenders, and you're gonna lose, but you'll score goals. But if you have good defenders and half decent attackers, you'll still score goals and you'll probably win games. I think in terms of the skill that you need, I think having good ability to read the defense, not read the defense, but like read the attack, being able to win balls off players, is really valuable. Dribbling, I'd probably say like just movement, maybe even over that would be more important. Like if you can move around with the ball and it sticks to your feet, then that's really good. Because this game has a huge learning curve. And I think once you get movement down and you can move around with the ball, you can pass it, then the floodgates open up to whatever you want to do. But I definitely want to see more defenders coming into the league. Having played defense myself, I know it's very difficult, but it's definitely the most valuable position to play in the league. Because most teams will generally start recruiting their defenders and goalkeeper first, and then they'll worry about their attack last.
Definitely.
Well, maybe like it would go like it would be like defenders, goalkeeper, then you go your attackers, and then your midfielder last. But it really just depends on like what you're going for and what tactics you're playing, how you're like the style of play you're wanting to emulate. But yeah, definitely just like once you get movement down, then you kind of can figure out, you know, I kind of like not having to dribble so much. I kind of like just having to take touches and then looking to pass. So you might find that being a right back or a left back will be really valuable for you. And then obviously over time as you play that position, you'll get better at your movement. And then down the line, you could be dribbling up and down the pitch like your Corzo and Lieb. Like, you never know. It's just the sky's the limit once you get the movement down.
Yeah, I do find it like intriguing that like the most rare position you'll be able to find is defender, because it's like almost an unattractive position. You're like further away from the opposition's goal. You're less likely to score goals, and you find less people actively learning the position and where they need to be in defense. But I reckon defending can be kind of aesthetic, especially if you get really talented as to like what like right place or right time, and even blocking shots. I think that's really cool. It's a cool thing to see in game.
100%. Like, if you look at it, right, the best defenders in the league, there's probably like three of them, three main ones. You have Corzo, Lieb, and Harry.
Yeah.
All of them can dribble. All of them can pass. And one of them can 100% shoot crazy shots, and the other two have a really solid shot anyway.
Yeah.
Like defender, if you're playing for a good team, you'll find that defenders will actually get a lot of shot opportunities, like in real life. And a lot of players now, especially midfielders like myself and Haloz in Season 3, know that if there's a good opportunity, usually if your defender's confident and good enough, they can dribble up themselves, and then your midfielder will drop back and play defense in their place.
A good
You kind of-
attack is built upon a solid defense,
Exactly.
as Mark Goldbridge says.
He doesn't say a lot of smart things, that Goldbridge fella, but he's correct on that.
Yeah, moving on from that. Halo Z, do you have like the same answer or like a different sort of position?
I think it depends exactly or entirely on what you want to learn, and I mean, for a player starting off, I'd say. I mean, it's kind of hard to decide on, like, cause would you want to learn dribbling or just like body blocking and defending first? And I think it's pretty important to learn dribbling, so I'd say start off in wing. Like get a good like knowledge of that for about a week or so, and then go down to defense if that's what you want to do. But as I said, you know, like it depends exactly like on what you want to do, because each position, everyone will have a different skill set. But the more you play the game, you'll pick up everything, like all the habits of every position, anyways. So yeah, that's how I'd take it.
Fair enough. Well said. And I think that's like all the topics that I wanted to get into. We've almost reached like an hour. God damn. But just like final statements. Do you guys want to say anything? Halo?
Oh really? I'm just looking forward to season 4 at the moment. So it's gonna be really good, and I think, you know, whoever's watching this, I think you're really gonna enjoy it, and it's gonna be fantastic.
Fair enough. Joshy, do you want anything to say?
Yeah, if you're not a part of the league, be sure to join. I'm pretty sure there's going to be links in the description below.
Yeah, for sure.
It's very fun game. Brylos, if you ever see this, please update your game. It's been 8 months plus. We're begging here. But yeah, if you're looking to join, feel free to. We have coaching now. It's a new feature we added in the last month. We have experienced players, like I've mentioned, like Lieb, Cheeky, Zuza even. We have really experienced players that are willing to teach people things, so that you can jump into the games quicker. And yeah, shout out QPR Season 4. I'm looking forward to playing, and I think everyone else is.
Fair enough. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you, Halo Z. Thank you, Joshy, and thank you, Jacko, who's been in the background for quite some time.
I've only been here for like 10 minutes, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for joining us, like mid podcast, and I think that's gonna be it. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.